You want me to do the intro?
Yeah, we're already on the air, so introduce us.
All right, guys. Fantasy Fisticuffs back on a Thursday. Me, Dan Gilbert, and my boy Doug Boyle. How you doing, Doug?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Excellent. We didn't have any Nick Gordon today. God, I love that song every time you play it.
I thought I would go with something. That's sort of our thing on our side. I thought I'd go with something a little more public domainy. So
okay, we got to get something. I'll get something figured out. I'll have to give you the download to my music.
I started it with I started this with a little music. It was Les Toreadors from Carmen, which is better known as the theme song to the Bad News Bears.
Okay.
Remember that? Remember that?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Well, yeah, man, we were starting to talk off air a little bit about where we were going with this show. But yeah, you want to kick that off, Doug? Kind of go where we were talking about.
Well, Easy's not been on for a couple weeks, and so I haven't got my fill of other things besides my own show. And historically, right around Memorial Day is when you start repositioning your rotisserie rosters. I mean, you got to give your guys a chance. There are people that you make early cuts on, and you get kind of sad about, But this is the point.
Yeah, I got to tell you, there's a guy I cut this week that has done a few things that have made me sad, and that's Justin Smoke. I cut him like 2 weeks ago, and he was in kind of like a down spell, and I thought that Rowdy Tellez was going to take a lot of his playing time, and then he is just kind of had a 2-homer game a couple days ago, and I was just looking at my roster, and I'm like, God damn it. It was a 15-team league, too. I don't think I should have dropped him.
Well, I actually think more of the people I actually cut earlier in the season, like I cut Ryan Braun, and I thought, wow, he's actually...
Really? I wouldn't have done that.
He was hitting like 185, and then he had the next day, that was the day I cut him. Like 2 days later, I think it was on Saturday, he went like 6 for 8, and from that point forward,
I remember that.
But he was on the player rater, he was like number 362, and I'm like, this is done, and I'm co-managing a team with my brother, and because he's getting back into the baseball thing, and he's kind of like beating up on me for loving these old guys. He hasn't played in a while.
I don't mind the veterans too much, to be honest with you, man. I always think they give you value. I mean, I was a guy that had Carlos Beltran late in his career on teams and rosters, and I rode Pujols about as long as I thought I could. I think this year was the only year I haven't drafted him.
Well, I mean, you think like you said, like in one league you took a lot of chances. Like there's one league where I have like Daniel Murphy and Miguel Cabrera and Ryan Braun. I have a number of these guys. I think I took one too many of these guys. And so Ryan Braun was the cut, and I think it was the truth is I should have held them all because I was in there. But you do what you have to do. It's like I'm in first place in one league, and in most of the head-to-heads I'm competitive. I'm like second, third place, fourth place in the worst. But in this one roto league that I'm in, I'm like right at the bottom of the second pack. Like the leaders are here.
Sure.
Like 2, 3. So like the second pack has about 5 guys, so it puts me at about 9th place. On a good day, I'm in 7th. And on that team, I had to make some moves. So I picked up.
I'm either top 3 or dead last right now. I mean, I just literally boomed or busted.
I don't want to talk about the AL only league because of the Altuve injury and the Andrus injury. I dropped from like 4th place to like 8th place since we last discussed it.
Ouch.
Ouch. Literally, it was two of my 2 best players, and literally my most expensive player, Altuve. But
Altuve's hurt me in a lot of leagues this year. God, the injuries have just been freaking piling up left and right on me.
And he was in Chattanooga playing for Round Rock Express on Monday and Tuesday, and everything looked fine. Then on Wednesday, we find out he's going to need a little more time. That kind of sucks.
Yes.
I
understand.
I thought he was coming back this weekend. They were saying like he'd be back by Saturday. Now, I mean, they don't think it's serious, but it's probably going to add 7 to 10 days. It's
That's no good. Because I mean, what did they say the setback was? Same injury, same part, or was it something else? Because he's compensating for.
It's a different part of his leg. I think it's his knee now instead of his hamstring.
Yeah, it's usually the way it works.
He had a surgically repaired knee from some other year or something. He had surgically repaired something. Yeah. It's that's barking at him.
That's never good.
So
Yeah, usually when you have injuries like that, especially when they're like pulled muscles and stuff, they can start to affect your joints and things like that. I know from experience, someone who's starting to get older. That's why usually these speed guys don't age very well, and you don't see a lot of guys running past 30. How old is Altuve now? Like 27?
he's really, really old at 20. He's probably even older.
He's not that old, dude. He's maybe 28 tops.
I'm joking about it. It's like we look at somebody. I'm sitting here at the just crossing 50 this year, and I don't have the balls to say that a 28-year-old's old. But maybe he's baseball. No. He's baseball old.
No, I don't feel like he's old at all. I just don't feel like that skill set's going to translate into his 30s. It just doesn't with a lot of guys.
He's 29 years old. 29, born May 6, 1990.
Dude, what does he have hit-wise right now in his career? He's got to be 1,400, something like that. What does he got?
I know that he's on pace to be right up there with Pete Rose, but this year he's been awful.
Yeah, he's been crazy. And like I said, until he ran into injuries the last 2 years, but I mean, he had a string of like 200-hit seasons there for a couple of years in a row. Yeah. And he started to hit with pop, you know what I mean? So it didn't really affect his batting average too much. One of those rare guys that can do both.
I did, I said before the show, I don't really want to talk about the All-Star game, but I did my ballot, and it was hard not voting for Altuve. That's all I really wanted to say. It's like, I really can't vote for him to be the All-Star. He hasn't been that good this year. And there hasn't been that many good players. I mean, that's the only other side is, who do you vote for?
All-Star game's a whole different conversation. It's a popularity contest. But I love it. I love the All-Star game.
No, I'm just saying that it's like, once you get past Altuve, it's amazing how kind of bleak the second basemen are in the American League.
That's why MLB needs a player like Altuve to get voted in, just based on what he's done in the past and those MVPs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the next best guy is probably Whit Merrifield. I actually wound up voting for Tommy.
Merrifield will get in, but he may get in as an outfielder because you got to figure he's playing outfield full time right now.
Yeah, but I don't know where he is on the ballot. But I didn't want to go into it much, but it's the sort of thing. It's like there is something about these old guys that we're at that point where things are changing. And Altuve's not old yet. He's still got 3 or 4 more years ago. And as far as when I go, like, you want to talk about an old guy who's doing really well? I took a lot of old guys who aren't. Andrew McCutchen.
Dude, and I have a bet going with Dave right now. I have to pull up the digital bet book off my Google Drive. But I'm pretty sure I took the over on 30 homers right now. And that's looking like it's I think, what does he have, 9 right now?
It's pretty good. I saw that he was like a top 70 player or whatever like that.
Yeah, I love McCutchen. I knew he was going to thrive in that ballpark. I saw him play last year in San Francisco, and there were so many times where he hit balls that would have gone out in, a place like Philadelphia where they were just warning track stuff in AT&T Park. But he still had great underlying numbers, despite all that and having no protection around him. So when I knew he was going to that crazy lineup in that ballpark, that was a no-brainer for me.
He's got 9 home runs, 28 RBIs.
Yeah, that's respectable. He's only hitting like 250 or 260, right?
261.
But his numbers, batting average isn't quite there yet. But God, I don't know how I know these things. But I can't remember what I ate for dinner last week.
Does that say he's walked 41 times?
Dude, wow. Yeah, he's been an on-base machine. That's what I'm saying. That skill set is there.
Well, I'm just saying, especially you can carry a 260 batting average with 40 walks pretty easily.
Yeah, you can for sure. I mean, that team is basically, it looks like they may be taking an analytical approach to things. Bryce Harper's a similar type of player. He's a 400 on-base guy who's going to maybe bat you 260. It may just be who he is,
I'd like to take just a moment to say that Royals 29 boom, that's Kevin, right?
It's Kevin, yeah.
He wanted to let us know 1,454 hits for Altuve.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought, dude. I thought he was around 1,400 hits. He's on the fast track to 3,000 in the Hall of Fame bid, dude. Honest to God, he really at 28 years old, dude. He's got a really good shot to get 3,000.
I think there's no reason why he wouldn't make it. I mean,
injuries.
Injury is the only reason. It's like if he plays it through.
Yeah.
I mean, if he plays it through.
Can we talk about another Astros injured player?
Well, that was the kind of thing.
Carlos Correa.
Yeah, like when I read the story about Altuve, like it said, well, they got better news on Altuve. So what do you know about Carlos Correa?
He injured his back. He broke his ribs. He's gonna be out 4 to 6 weeks, and he did it during a massage at his house. How ridiculous is that? That's got to be one of the most ridiculous ways to get injured.
There've been a lot of weird ones out there, but that is, you would think like that's actually like a medical treatment. Like if you feel bad after a game, you might go get a massage. And
Yeah, but it shouldn't break your ribs.
It should make you better, is what I'm saying. It's like when somebody like what's like Salvador Perez this year, he tore his ACL or his MCL
God, that was devastating.
carrying luggage in a hotel. At least you're going like, well, carrying luggage is something that you could get strained by. But if
How
you
does that happen? I just don't understand that. Like these finely tuned athletes, you know what I mean? And they're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hurt myself in the shower or whatever. You know what I mean? Like just the most random shit. I don't understand it.
That was the first random one that came to mind. I always think about Brandon Bentz as the guy who shot himself, but he's not he was a prospect for the Red Sox, or actually he was the Giants prospect, wasn't he? Brian Bentz when he shot himself.
When was this? I don't remember this.
About 6 years ago. He was kind of he was like a number 3 prospect for the Giants, I think. And the Giants have not had an enormously great thing, but he literally shot himself cleaning his gun. And
I don't remember this at all, and I follow the Giants prospects.
So
doesn't sound familiar, but I don't doubt your.
And he's no Brian Harper. He's Bryce Harper. Sorry, why did I say Brian? Brian Harper was a pretty good defensive back.
Well, let's get back to what we were talking about. You were talking about roster construction of your team and assessing your team at this point. And, I'm kind of doing the same thing, but I don't know if we're necessarily taking the same approach to that. We were kind of talking about a little bit about that off air.
Yeah, no, there are one of the great things about fantasy baseball is there's probably about 10 different kinds of strategies that actually work. There's 1,000 strategies out there, but there's some bad ones. So what are you doing?
Well, like I guess this week I made a trade in Cha-Cha's league. Is a 15-team league, and I'm trying to climb, scratch and claw my way back into things. And I made a trade. I told you I dropped Justin Smoke. When in the process of doing that, I picked up Mikal Franco, and I ended up flipping him in a deal along with Yordan Alvarez, the Astros prospect. We've been talking about a lot of Astros stuff. And God, there was some other player in the deal. I don't have the trade right in front of me. Long story short, I ended up getting Chris Davis and
with a K.
With a K. Chris Davis, yeah. And God damn, I need to pull the trade up. Hold on one second. Just a second.
Well, the chat room mentions when Sosa got knocked out by sneezing, pulled a muscle on his back. I remember that fairly vividly, being a Cub fan. I loved Sosa. It was sad how it ended for him in Chicago.
Sosa's whole entire situation was sad, to be honest with you.
He was. The thing I'd say for him is take the. Yes, he probably did all sorts of drugs to get better, but in my lifetime, that was about the most fun it was to be a Cub fan in my life. Until recently, it's been good. We had a good year at 84, 85, but that was it. It was like. Anytime Sosa was on TV, it was worth watching. So you're looking at your trade?
All right, so yeah, my trade was I got Eric Thames and Chris Davis, and I gave up Harrison Bader, who was a player that I didn't list earlier I was telling you about. So I gave up Bader, Yordan Alvarez, and Mikal Franco, and I ended up getting a hurt Chris Davis, but he's outfield eligible in Yahoo, and you got to figure I got Nelson Cruz as my utility, both hurt right now, but they're both about to come back. And so I snagged both those guys, and then I went and grabbed Yandy Diaz off of waivers too, and I threw all of them in my DL at this point, and I kind of, filled the slots, but at the same time I filled up my DL because I didn't have anyone in the DL in this league. So I felt it was, a two-part approach more or less.
I did the same sort of thing where I was looking at players and other teams that were on the DL that were sort of hurting now, and I made offers. Like I offered for Mike Clevenger, who probably he's a little bit ahead of schedule, but still probably won't be back till the All-Star game. I offered Madison Bumgarner, Dwight Smith, and a prospect to see if they could jump at that. He didn't take that one. I actually wound up making a move in the similar vein, but I didn't get a DL player. I got a minor leaguer. That's what I've been doing in that league, is rebuilding my minors.
Yeah, I got to tell you, my least favorite thing to come at was people when they come at me with these half-ass trade offers. Man, it drives me crazy. It's been happening a lot recently in a few leagues.
I mean, the guy is for the first time. The guy is for the first time really competing for his division, and he's got Tony Kemp starting in the outfield, and Dwight Smith's been very good, And you'll have Madison Bumgarner for the whole year versus the 45 days. It's not a perfect trade, I know it, but it was not insulting. But he's like, nope. I think